Hi everyone, you're welcome to Kema Freak. My name is Kemi Omorogbe. In this video, I'll be teaching you how I made this beautiful shade top with Ankara fabric, that's the African print. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please kindly do so. We have this top in many prints and many other designs on our Kema Freak 5K store on Instagram. I'll be putting up a link in the description box. On this page, you can get lots of beautiful outfits under 5,999 naira. Yeah. Now let's get right into the business of the day. So you need about 2 yards of fabric for this, and I'll be making use of this print. So I'll just show you what I'll be doing on my print on paper just so you can see it clearly, okay? The fabric chalk may not be as visible as my marker would be on a white paper. So if you're making just one of these, you don't need to draft a pattern, you can just work directly on your fabric. So now put your fabric on fold, okay? So it will be folded along the center front. So you have to decide how deep you want the neckline to go. Remember, it's an off shoulder. So I took off 4 inches off my shoulder, and the length of the top I'm working with is 26 inches. So if I remove the 4 inches from the 26 inches, that leaves me with 22 inches. So I took out that 22 inches on my fabric. So just assume this paper is a fabric. So, and then the width for the front is 36 inches. So I use 36 inches. It depends on how much freedom you want your top to have. Okay, so because my 36 inches is on fold for the front, I marked out 18 inches. Okay, so for the armhole, from the edge of the fabric, just take off 4 inches inward, and that's the dot you can see there. Okay, and from this 4 inches, mark 4 inches downward. That's because my armhole depth is 8 inches and 4 inches is part of the off shoulder. Okay, so I have a box sort of. So I'll just take down 4 inches, mark and draw out a box to house the armhole curve. Now from the side to the top of this box, I can now put the armhole curve like so. Now we can cut out the curve. Now here's what we have, and we need 2 of these, one for the front and one for the back. Each of mine is 36 inches wide. So for the sleeve, I'll put my fabric on fold. Okay, like I said, we should just assume this is the fabric. So the fabric on fold, decide on the length you want. So I went with a length of 17 inches. In as much as there is 4 inches out at the top of my sleeve, that's for the off shoulder part. Also remember that you need extra to make it a little bit puffy because it is not a straight sleeve. So because of that, I'll just be marking out exactly 17 inches on my fabric or paper if you like. So, and I made it 18 inches wide. That's 9 inches on fold for each sleeve. Now I'll just mark out the length and breadth and cut it out. Note that that is the center of the sleeve, which is on fold. So I'll mark out the top, and then we can rule a straight line to connect the bottom to the top of the sleeve, and I'll pick up my scissors and cut out this rectangle. Don't forget to add half an inch allowance at the side and the bottom of the sleeve. So we already have that half an inch at the top of this sleeve. Okay, now place the main bodice on the sleeve so as to cut out the sleeve curve. Now we have these two pieces. So two of the bodies, that's one for the front, one for the back, and two of these for each of the sleeve. Okay, so this is what I have on fabric. Once I cut that out on fabric, we have the sleeve curve. That's the center front and center back, and this is the side. Okay, and that's what it looks like when you open it up. Also, this is the sleeve here. So we have the sleeve curve there, and this is what we have when it's unfolded. So the first step is to attach the sleeve to the main bodice, and I've sewn it in by half an inch. So the other side of the sleeve will be attached to the other bodice and to be sewn together by half an inch again, and then you just go round and attach all the sides of the sleeve to all the sides of the body along the curve we created. So basically we'll do this for all of the sleeve curves except one, and this one will be left open so that it will be easy for us to shear the fabric. Right now, this end is the only one left open. Like I said, it just makes it easier for us to shear around the fabric. Okay, so now before we start shearing, we need this bias tape and a scissors. I have a video on a tutorial where you can learn how to make this bias tape by yourself. Okay, it's a DIY, you can make it with any fabric, but I have this already made one I'll be using because it matches the color of the fabric I'm using. So just pick anyone that matches the color of the fabric you're using. So now this is a 1 inch wide bias tape that has 1/4 of an inch fold on both sides. Then the main base of the bias tape is 1 inch wide. So I'm sewing in the first 1/4 of an inch with a straight stitch. So what we're going to do here is to create a piping from one end of the top to the other, just to give it a clean look, and it just looks bright and beautiful with a piping at the top like so. So we'll make this first stitch 1/4 of an inch at the top of the top. I've sewn facing the right side of the top, and now I'm going to make the second stitch. So I'll just open up the other 1/4 of an inch this way and create a fold somewhere in the middle of the bias. So I'm going to sew very close to the bias. That way the seam will be invisible on the right side, but then you can clearly see it on the other side of the fabric. This is what the piping looks like on the right side, and here's what you have on the wrong side. The next thing I need to do is to attach the same piping to the edge of the sleeve. So I'll just do exactly what I did at the top of the top to the edge of my sleeve, and here is what it is. Next step is to shear this fabric at the top. So 1/2 inch away from the pipe we created at the top, I'll be shearing from one end of the top to the other end. Okay, now to do this I need this elastic thread for shirring and also a bobbin on which I'll be manually winding the elastic thread on. Okay, just put your thread this way, not on the machine. That's because of the stretchy nature, so it doesn't lose its elasticity. So just keep rolling it on the bobbin. So this is the bobbin case here, and there's a screw here that releases the tension on the bobbin case. So you need to release the tension on the bobbin case a little bit, not too much, but enough to have the thread pull out easily. Okay, so it shouldn't be too loose. You have to be careful of that. So you need to ease the bobbin because the elastic thread is a little bit thicker than the regular thread. So just insert the bobbin the regular way you insert a bobbin into the bobbin case. The upper thread of the sewing machine will be the usual cutting thread, and also on the sewing machine you need to ease the tension a little bit as well. Okay, it shouldn't be too loose, just a little bit. And now you can sew from one end of the top to the other end. I'll be making 7 layers, leaving half an inch in between each layer. Note that you can make this on any sewing machine. I particularly enjoy using a manual sewing machine, and just play around the tension on the machine and the tension of the bobbin case till you achieve what's perfect for you. And going with the widest stitch length kind of makes the gathers more pronounced. Now this is what we have at the top once I'm done shirring 7 layers of the fabric with half an inch in between. Now I'll share along the waistline, and I need to measure the position of my waist. So remember, we went 4 inches off the shoulder, so I'll just place my tape at 4 inches there and take my regular half length. So I'm making use of 15 inches for this, and I'll just mark that point. Now I'll measure from the point I marked to the hem of the top, just so I can mark the same out all through and draw a straight line across to guide me. So I have 10 inches here, and I'll measure that throughout the main fabric, so the front and back, and draw a line across. Now I'll be shirring my fabric from this line downwards. So I'll be making 7 layers like I did at the top of the top, and half an inch in between each layer. So I'll do the same thing for both the back and the front. So this time I'm working on my manual sewing machine. You can see how the gathers is forming amazingly well. Once you're done working on the waistline, this is what you will have: a very fine layer of shirred fabric along the waist. Next, we'll do the same thing at the hem of the sleeve, so 1/2 inch away from the bias tip. So we'll just be replicating this on both sleeve. So once that is done, this is what we have. Remember, we still have one side of the armhole open, so we'll be working on that right now. So we'll be attaching the sleeve to the front or back, as the case may be, because the back and front are basically the same on this top. Okay, so I'll be attaching these two together and sewing by 1/2 inch, and there we have it all closed up. So the next thing I'll be doing is to join the side seams together. So the front and back, I'll be sewing by 1/2 inch from the sleeve through the armhole, through the waistline to the hem of the outfit. So I'll do the same thing on both sides. So here we have it, looking all neat and beautiful. So I'll go ahead to fold in the hem of the top and we'll have the final look. Here we go, guys. It's my favorite part. That's the part where I get to show you what we have achieved. You can see it looking all bright and beautiful. By the way, one of my students made this head wrap. If you'd like to see a video tutorial on it, let me know. So I've got this beautiful top in different prints in Kemafreak 5K wears. It's a store on Instagram. I'll be linking it up in the description box. Please give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. So I'll be seeing you in the next video. Bye.